Alrighty, so Blackmagic Design just dropped the DaVinci Resolve 21 beta, and whew, what an update it is. Honestly, if you'd asked me what was on my bingo card of things that I thought would be in this latest update, photo editing wouldn't have been on there, wouldn't have even crossed my mind. But pretty glad it is. Pretty interested in it, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen plenty of other videos by other people detailing exactly what they think is great in it, or every single feature. I'm going to skip around most of it and just go in on the ones that I think are important, the ones that will make the most difference, and maybe we'll throw in a few that I find a little bit strange, a bit niche maybe. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so starting off small and working up to the big ones, we're going to start with just the overall UI user interface upgrades. There's a lot of small things which you will notice around at the top of the inspector and in other places around the UI where they've just generally made it look a little bit nicer. A little bit more rounded corners. They've just improved the graphical look of it and just made it more pleasing to the eye. Small details, but still appreciated. Another small update, but also well appreciated, is an update to the font viewer. Now you can view the fonts that you will be using, and there's just a much better way to actually see them and see what you'll be having. You can open up a separate window as well and type in whatever text you want and then scroll through all of the available fonts that you have, and it gives you just a better graphical, easier to see in an instant what you will be getting from the font that you're choosing. Just makes choosing fonts that little bit easier, a little bit less tedious and a bit less fiddly. Alright, so this next one will depend on what kind of editor you are and if you prefer to work this way. I like using the tab timelines. It's just the way I prefer to work. If you are like me and you like using tab timelines, it can be annoying that you have to set it up every single project you have. Now you can set this as a default. Super cool, just saves time. I'm all about saving time and getting the finished product out there faster. Something else that seems small, but really actually is just kind of helpful, is when you are delivering a file now, when you're in the deliver tab and you go down and you've put all the settings that you want in, at the bottom of the settings, right next to the add to render queue button, there is an estimated file size. This can be super handy if you have a target file size you're trying to maybe send over social media and there's a maximum file size. You can tweak your settings and get the best high quality settings, but whilst keeping it under the size that you want. Super handy. And if you want to see how best to deliver from DaVinci Resolve, you can see my other linked video, which will be up here, which is my perfect export settings for DaVinci Resolve to export in 10-bit. So as well as having a tabbed timeline, you can now have tabs in your media pool. Select any bin, right click and open as a new tab. Do that with as many bins as you want, and now you can quickly flick between them via the tabs at the top. Just saves a little bit of extra time, and all that time adds up over the course of a whole edit. Now, one more which I thought should have been standard from the start. Pretty much every other software or internet website already has done this for a long time, is a spell checker. They've got a spell checker in there, so you know what it's like. You'd be typing out a bunch of stuff and just 9 times out of 10, you might have got one letter wrong and spelled something wrong. It's nice just to have the computer give you that little reminder and just give a little wiggly red line underneath, and you can either change it yourself or just right click and it gives you the suggestion. Something which is just the smallest of things, but it's just very, very helpful. Okay, so now let's get into the meat and potato of things, the AI tools. Now, DaVinci Resolve has had AI tools for a while. I regularly, for all of China's social media stuff, use the AI transcription and subtitling. It's super good, and it usually nails mostly all of the Chinese or mostly all of the English, and it speeds up the whole process no end. But other than that, I have not used too many of the AI tools, because some of them, like the AI voiceover and stuff, they take a little bit more time to get any results from. But now in this edition, it seems that a lot of those AI tools have been refined and are now pretty usable. For example, the AI blemish remover. It's quite common when you have someone who has had a blemish come out on their skin on the day of shooting and you cannot change the shoot, but now you can offer them a solution. Just get rid of it in post, and to be honest, from what I've seen of this tool, it seems to work most of the time. There are certain lighting conditions, and if your talent is moving quite a lot, it seems to have a little bit of flickering. But overall, as long as you're using this on a fairly well lit and without crazy movement shot, it seems to work pretty well. Okay, so another cool one is the AI slate detection. These things, a slate, Anybody who's shot a short film or ever been around people that have shot short films have seen these. You've seen these on TV. Even if you've not shot one yourself, I'm sure you're aware of what this is. Now, on a slate, it will contain lots of details about the shot, the take, the director, the camera guy, all of this important information, plus it's used for timing. Now, DaVinci Resolve will automatically detect that one of these slates is in the scene, and it can even then add all of the data which is on the slate to the metadata of the shot. That is not only handy, it's just pretty mind-blowing and pretty cool. So AI slate detection, big thumbs up from me. So for other AI tools, there is the AI sharpening. From what I've seen of it, I've not used it personally myself, but the AI sharpening from what I've seen looks pretty good, and it looks like it could possibly be able to bring back detail from shots which were previously unusable. From what I've seen from other people showing like examples of it, it looks like when you've ever so slightly missed focus, maybe if you're using a manual focus lens, you are able to sharpen what you originally wanted to be in focus, therefore giving you a usable shot. Now, I have to try this myself to really get a feel for it, but if it is as said, this is going to be absolutely amazing, because there are plenty of times, especially when shooting manual, that you get that just a little, your focus is just a little bit off, and this would really help with that. So for that, I think that if it does work, fantastic. Also, on top of that, we have the AI, and this is one that I'm really looking forward to using, is the AI demotion blurring. So now you've used the 180-degree rule when you've been shooting. You've either had your shutter speed at double what your frame rate is, or if you're like me and you shoot on the FX3 or any other camera with the shutter angle, you've just adjusted the shutter angle to 180 degrees. Either way, you've shot that video and it has the motion blur, which looks natural and looks pleasing to the eye as a video. Great, but then you try and take a still from that video for whatever reason, and the perfect moment that you want to capture is one of those frames which has the motion blur in it, and you can't use it. Well, now you can apply this AI demotion blur plugin, and it will just get rid of it. It will get rid of the motion blur, and you should have the shot that you were looking for. This will be super handy for all sorts of things, not just if you're a YouTuber, but maybe you just want to get some screen grabs for your portfolio, for anything that you've previously done, and you want to show your work. You want to grab some stills from it, and those stills had motion blur in. Now seems to be no problem at all. Okay, so before we get on to what you really came here for, the photo page, there's two things which I think are a little bit strange. Now, they may be amazing, it's just me that's getting it wrong. I'm going to have a go with these, and I'm sure one of them at least is pretty niche. One of those being AI face aging or face age changing. You can basically get it to analyze your face, and then it uses the AI to either age you or de-age you. Kind of strange, not sure what you want to use this for apart from some kind of niche video where you need to play an old man and you're actually a young dude. Not sure, but maybe there's use for it. I don't think, personally for me, I'd be using this much. And one, which may be also amazing, but I'm not sure and I'm going to have to play with this, is the fact that you can view all of your stuff. Maybe you've come from Premiere Pro like I did and you were used to layer-based, and then now you're thrown into node-based. Apparently now you can view all of your nodes as layers. Now, I'm not sure how this will work, and I'm not sure how it will play out, because they do kind of behave totally differently to each other. Nodes and layers are not just a different way of representing the same thing, they are actually different. So I am yet to be decided on what to think about this, but you know, maybe it'll be amazing. Who knows? It's there anyway. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of that. Okay, and finally, on to the biggest update for DaVinci Resolve 21, which is the photo page. This is huge, and honestly, to start with, I was a little bit like, why do we need this? But now I kind of see it, and it's pretty cool. Is it a Photoshop replacement? Absolutely not. It will not do any of the things that Photoshop really does. That is still something that Adobe holds on to, but this is a direct contender for Adobe Lightroom. Like, if you go to the photo page, it's laid out kind of similarly. You have you have your photo in the middle, you have albums at the bottom, which is kind of very similar to what you had in what you have in Lightroom. And then it has a lot of the familiar slider controls like you have in Lightroom to do all of the adjustments. You can import RAW, you can import TIFF, you can import JPEG, you can import all the good stuff that you would usually be shooting. Now, compared to Lightroom, it does look a little bit lacking on the photo page, and you've got to remember though, this is just the first ever time they have put this out into the software. So I'm pretty sure over time, even before DaVinci Resolve 22 comes out, they will have updated and made a lot of refinements to this. And I think over time, this is a huge promising start. Is the photo page by itself comparable to Lightroom? No. But here is what I think will make it better than Lightroom, is the fact that you are not just limited. Once you've imported all your photographs and you've done all the stuff that you want to do on the photo tab, you are not limited to just stay there. You can then go over and open up the color tab, and now you can use the node-based structure that you were used to for video. And for someone like me, I love editing in Dehancer. I think Dehancer is an amazing plugin, and I love it for color grading and getting the look that I want. And now the fact that I can just quickly and easily use a node-based structure like I'm used to, and use Dehancer and all of the plugins that I usually use to edit video, I think this is going to be absolutely amazing. And I think the hybrid between the kind of Lightroom-esque photo page and the color page is going to, I think it's, for me, it's just going to make editing photographs super interesting. And I am so pumped to be able to edit my photographs all in one software. Like, to be able to do it all in one program soon. If they can just make a tab which will, you know, compete with Photoshop, then I would never need Adobe ever again. How about you guys? What do you guys think? Do you think it's not as good as Adobe? Are you sticking with Adobe, or are you going to be like me and you're very excited about it and you think that this is a great hybrid approach to being able to edit photographs and video and do all VFX all in one piece of software? So what do you guys think? Do you like this new update? Do you not like it? Hit me up in the comments down below, as always. And remember, if you like these kind of filmmaking tips, filmmaking advice, you know where to find me. Couple of buttons down there, like and subscribe, give them a whirl. Till next time, guys, peace.